I'm Saturday hauling for you guys today, and I'm going to start off with a repurchase. I placed an order on the Wet n Wild website because they were having a sale and I was running low on the sponges that I like to use to put my foundation on. So I got 10 double packs, so ideally that's 20 sponges, so it should last me a while. And then just for reference, this is the one that I used today, and this is kind of the size that it gets in comparison to them when they're dry. And I like this little point on there to really get in that inner corner right there with my concealer. And then I just pounce on foundation or BB cream or whatever I'm wearing that day for the rest of my face. So I got some more of these guys, and then they had a couple other variations of sponges that I hadn't tried before, so I got some of those. I got 2 of the Power Trio 3-piece makeup sponge sets. So it looks to me like there's one of the ones that I just showed you in this 3-piece set, and then there are 2 smaller ones, and it's kind of like my ideal size is around here. And Wet n Wild used to make the double sponge they came with like a carrot packaging. Those were my favorite, and they discontinued them, but they were like a midi sponge. I can still get away with using this one, but the midi one, I just felt like my product went a little bit further because I was using a smaller sponge, and then I was really able to get super precise on the inner corner. I still can with these ones, but again, I kind of preferred that midi sponge. So I'm interested to see how that middle-sized sponge in this little set is when it's wet. And then there's a little tiny guy too for concealer, but I've done that before where I use a little sponge for concealer and then a different one for the rest of the face, and it's just a little bit too time consuming to do 2 sponges. So I thought I'd give them a try and see how these guys work, and I know that I like the big sponge, so got 2 of those. And then I also saw that they have a microfiber sponge that is the same shape as the sponge that I really like, and it comes in a bit different packaging with this zipped envelope. And then here is your microfiber sponge with that nice point to it, so I'm also excited to give this a try. I've used other microfiber sponges in the past, and I can say that your product does stretch further on the face with a microfiber sponge because it doesn't quite absorb as much product as a regular one. So you don't need as much product when you use these. And I don't recall having one that has a fine point like this right here. So another sponge that I'm excited to use. I only got one of these guys because I just kind of wasn't sure. I seem like I go back to the original sponges when I've tried other microfiber sponges, so we shall see about that. And then I got another shade of the Givenchy Prism Libre Skin Caring Concealer, and I got the lightest shade that they make in N95. The original shade that I purchased was C105, which was the lightest cool toned version of it, and I thought that this shade would be lighter. I knew it was going to have like a more neutral tone to it because the C105, it works, but I kind of need to use a little bit more brightening setting powder because it can deepen just a little bit more than I like. But I really, really love the formula of this, so I got the N95 version. This is what the packaging looks like. There's 0.37 fluid ounces of product, or 11 milliliters. And this guy here is made in France. So I'm going to show you both of the shades that I got. And you can visibly see that the C105 is more pink in tone in comparison to the N95. But on my skin tone, the N95 really has a strong yellow undertone. And the C105 on my skin tone just kind of looks neutral because, again, I carry a lot of pink in my skin tone. So this is what the packaging looks like. This is the C105 right here. So I'll swatch that one right here. And just a swipe and a swipe underneath my eyes is how I like to use it. And it just has a really light, medium coverage to it that is super comfortable underneath the eyes. So this is the original one that I bought. And then here is the N95, which really isn't much lighter in terms of light and dark factor. It's just a different tone. And I don't mind using the N95, but I was expecting it to be just a bit brighter. I knew it wasn't going to have more pink in it, obviously, but they're, again, same amount of lightness, just different undertones. So that is the C105 and the one that I just got in N95. And then I'll just kind of blend them out there for you. But this is a lovely, lovely concealer. I really do like it a lot. I would love if the brand came out with pink toned correctors in this formula because it is a very nice formula. And then the brand Kulfi expanded their shade range in their main match concealer. So originally I purchased the lightest shade that they had available, and that shade was Ice Berry, and I really like the formula of it, but I had to mix it with something lighter because it was just too dark. So I was pretty excited to see that they came out with more shades of this. So the lightest shade now currently is the shade Bad Badum. And this guy's got 0.17 fluid ounces of product, which is quite a bit less than the Givenchy if I was making a comparison. And then this concealer is made in Canada. So this is the box packaging right here. And this is the concealer that I've got underneath my eyes today, and I absolutely love it. It's got a little bit thicker consistency in comparison to the Givenchy, but it also has a little bit more coverage, but it still looks really like flawless underneath the eye. Same thing, a swipe underneath each eye, and it just looks really pretty. So again, I've got the Bad Badum shade underneath my eyes today, and I will give you a swatch of this guy. So this is the new one in Bad Badum. And the one previously that I had purchased that was the lightest is Ice Berry. So this one's Ice Berry, and this is kind of like my perfect shade almost. So I may very well declutter this shade right here, which I've actually used quite a bit of the product. I think you can kind of see there, but every time that I've used it, I do mix it with something because it's just a little bit too dark for me. But this is a really nice medium coverage concealer here from Kulfi. So again, that's the main match concealer from Kulfi, and we've got Bad Badum right there, and then Ice Berry is the deeper shade. And you can kind of see, especially with the Ice Berry shade, it is oxidizing a little bit too. So especially after I set it, it was just too deep for me. I also got in the last reshipment of the Lethal Cosmetics Magnetic Pure Metals eyeshadow. So I had gotten a bunch of Lethal shades, like their singles, a while back from Camera Ready, and 4 of them had come broken, and this one was like back ordered, so they had to wait till it came in stock to them before they could ship it to me. So this is the shade Cobalt. Again, this is from Lethal Cosmetics, and their new metal formulation is just beautiful. Like super high shine, very pretty. It's like a pinky purple color. Look at how pretty that is. Like just absolutely stunning. So that is the Cobalt shade from Lethal Cosmetics. This is a 0.06 ounce pan, and Lethal Cosmetics is made in Germany. It's a German-based cosmetic brand. I also got the new Urban Decay Naked Metal Mania eyeshadow palette. This is the box packaging right here. It mimics the actual packaging, and this guy here has got a total of 12.6 grams or 0.44 ounces of product. So there's 12 shades, so just over a gram per shade is kind of what the math looks like it's going to be on there. And then it does say that this is made of US and or imported materials, finished in the Dominican Republic, and then the brush is made in Vietnam. And then here is your actual packaging. I think that it's really pretty. It's a hard plastic with a kind of snap closure to it. And then you got your standard kind of double-ended Urban Decay brush that's inside of there. And these brushes are functional. There's like a flat shader on one end and a blender on the other. And very in particular for this palette, these are just a little bit stiffer than something I would put into a shadow formula that's this soft, and I've always found them just to be a little bit more stiff than a brush that I like to use, but they are functional. And then here are your 12 shades. This is one of the nicest formulated Urban Decay palettes that I've tried in a really long time. The shadows are soft, they're pigmented, they blend really well. It's just a really nice formula. And there's nothing like super revolutionary in terms of the shades or anything, but the shadow formula is a very nice formula. So this is actually the palette that I've got on my eyes today, and I've worn this palette quite a few times since I've gotten it. You've kind of got 3 super metallic like foiled shades, which are Decadent, Spike Stud and Scene, and then some really pretty shimmers in Power Orchid, Headbang, Trash, Shred, and then you've got some really good mattes. It's a standalone palette for me. I went in actually with the Spike Stud very lightly on a fluffy brush for underneath my brow when I'd used it the very first time, and it worked out great. Like, I was a little like, do I really want to put like a metallic silver underneath my brow? But with a light fluffy brush, it just gave the nice perfect highlight to it. So it is a standalone for me. And I really do like it. It's a very nice palette. Like I said, the shades in this one especially are pretty soft, so I think that double-ended brush might be a little bit too much for these softer shades. And I think you can kind of see even right there just how smooth those are. And these next guys. And then these last 4 shades. I really like it. It's just a little bit different, you know, in terms of the nakeds that have been coming out. It's a little bit more refreshing, I think, even though, you know, the shades aren't like super special in terms of the color. I think it's quite nice. So that is the new Metal Mania palette right there from Urban Decay. I also got the new Too Faced Maple Syrup Pancakes eyeshadow palette, which I probably shouldn't have because it's the same packaging, same manufacturer as the Cosmic Crush palette, which is not the best in terms of some of the stuff that Too Faced has put out. Their newer palettes have been in this cardboard packaging. It was pretty expensive. I think it was $50+ and I much prefer the tin. Like, the Italian Spritz palette that Too Faced came out with was an amazing formula. Everybody loved it. It was made in Italy. It just felt really, really nice. And it went over really, really well from what I could tell. So I don't know why Too Faced didn't stick with that. They had a good thing going on, you know? So anyway, this one here has got a total of 0.68 ounces of product, 18 eyeshadows that are 0.04 ounces each. And this guy here is US bulk made in USA, assembled in the Dominican Republic is what it says on the packaging. Again, which is the same as the Cosmic Crush palette. So this is the box packaging that the palette comes in right there. And then here's your actual packaging. There is a bit of a lip on this one. It's not flush. You can see it like go down into the palette, and then you got to kind of line this up when you shut it that it goes in there, which again is just also a little bit of an inconvenience because I've shut it before and you have to line it up to get the cover to go in because it's like laid inwards. There is a mirror in there and you can flip it all the way back. This is a standalone palette for me. I'm able to get a look out of here without bringing in any other palettes. The looks that I've done with this, I did like how they looked, but they were very tame, and the shimmer shades are just very, very dry. They're just very, very lackluster. And for a palette that costs over $50, those shimmer shades should have a lot more interest, a lot more impact to them than they do when you put them on. They're just very kind of dry. There are a few that are a little bit nicer than others, but again, they're just a little lackluster. I didn't have any issues with the mattes though. They performed really well, and I do like that there's a little bit of a green factor in here. So hopefully you can kind of tell from the swatches whether or not it's something that you would like. But I feel like this is a formula from 10 years ago or something, especially those shimmers. And eyeshadow has come a very long way in that time frame. So again, I don't know why Too Faced didn't stick with the manufacturer that they had for the Italian Spritz palette, because that formula was so nice. And these next ones. I was tempted by some of their little 8 pans that they've come out with as well, but I actually don't think that I'll pick them up. Again, I really like the tin packaging. It flows with the rest of my Too Faced collection, and it just feels like you're getting more for the price tag too. So I don't know if I'll pick those up, but and I know not everybody likes an in-your-face colored, shimmery, shiny, metallic like look. So again, there's a place for this. And I didn't absolutely dislike the looks that I did either. They just weren't as pretty as I thought that they could be, you know? And then these last two. And this does have a fragrance to it as well, which a lot of the Too Faced kind of food based palettes have, but it's not really strong. And it definitely doesn't linger. So that is the new Too Faced Maple Syrup Pancakes palette right there. I also grabbed this Naruto pressed powder palette from Colourpop. I wasn't going to get this, and then I seen it in store in Ulta, and I was like, yeah, just go ahead and get it. Because I love me a good Colourpop palette, and this is the one with the larger pans. The color story on this guy is a bit similar to some of their other collaborations, but it also has a little bit of uniqueness to it as well. So cardboard packaging with a magnetic closure. Colourpop products are made in the USA, and there are 15 shades for a total 0.58 ounces of product. Again, these are the larger pans from Colourpop. It's got the graphic here with no mirror, and I found it interesting that the binding on this one's actually glued right here, so you can't like fold the cover back because of that, and I'm not sure why they've done that, but this is the first Colourpop palette I've had that's been like that, so that's kind of interesting. The shadows are magnetized in here, so you can pull them out as well. But let's give you some swatches. This is a standalone palette for me as well. And it's kind of like your standard Colourpop shadow formula, which I do get along with pretty well. And these next guys. This one here is like one of their pressed glittery type shades, but it's got pigment to it, and I did use that on the lid over a tacky primer, and it actually looked really pretty for being like a pressed glittery type formula. Again, it's got the pigmentation infused in it with that kind of glitter. It's got a great like binder in it as well. And then these next guys. And then these last three right here. It was like another collaboration, I think, that they did that had a similar-ish formula, maybe the Hogwarts one, but I still like this palette. I think it's really pretty. So that is the Colourpop in Naruto, which I don't know anything about Naruto. And that's everything that I got and that I purchased this week. I did get in two lovely PR packages. This first one is from one of my favorite fragrance brands, and that is the House of Sillage. They relaunched their Wonder Woman fragrance, which if you followed me for a while, you know that is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. There are actually a lot of both in the permanent range and the limited edition range from House of Sillage that are some of my favorite scents. There's such a unique factor to a lot of their fragrances, and to top off how lovely the fragrances actually are, the packaging is just stunning. These are expensive fragrances, but the House of Sillage does run sales quite often, and I just seen that this fragrance is also on sale for 30% off right now as well. You are getting quality when you pay for it. The bottle's very heavy. It's just a very luxurious factor on top of a very lovely fragrance. And I've said this before as well, when you use these fragrances, like the Wonder Woman one, tops is like 3 spritzes for me, and I will smell it all day long. So this is the newest bottle that they came out with for the Wonder Woman collection. I will show you guys the other two that they previously did as well. It is that fragrance. It is a gourmand. It is a sweet gourmand, but for me, it's not one of those ones that can kind of get me lightheaded. I love a really sweet fragrance, but there's kind of a tipping point sometimes for me with sweet fragrances that can kind of get me lightheaded. Not that I don't like the actual scent, it just, I don't know what it does to me that makes me kind of feel, again, a little lightheaded. This one does not do that. It is a gourmand fragrance though, and it is pretty sweet. I do want to read the notes for you guys as well after I show you how pretty this is packaged. So this is how House of Sillage fragrances come. On top of the external packaging, which is also super pretty. They just do an amazing job. So again, it's got the French glass, and this one is also encrusted with Swarovski crystals, and then you got the Wonder Woman emblem on top right there. It is such a pretty fragrance. This is the card that came inside of the box, and I'll just read the notes for you guys. So the top notes are Davana, pink pepper, and raspberry. The heart notes are Tolu, almond, and orris. And the base notes are musk and vanilla absolute. So that is what is on the back, if that helps to kind of indicate whether or not it's a gourmand that you would like. The Sweet Dreams fragrance with the pink cupcake on top, that's one that I just keep crossing my fingers that they come back out with. I've worn a lot of that fragrance and I've tapered back because I don't want to use it up, and I've done that with a lot of the House of Sillage fragrances. So again, you don't need a lot, so they will last a while, but I reserve myself for special times, which I've been trying to be better about doing that lately with like makeup products or fragrance or anything like that. But it's just so hard when the packaging is this pretty, you know. It's just got a super nice weight to it. Then you just pull the top off like that, and then there is your fragrance. You can see it's etched inside of the top of the cap as well. And then here it is next to the very first Wonder Woman bottle that they did, which is so pretty. I love those colors. Let's see if I can hold, do you think I can hold up all three of them without dropping one? I think I can. So this is the second one that they did right here. This one also has the stars around the side, which the new one does as well. So you can kind of see all three of them right there, and they're just so pretty. Another fragrance that came into stock recently on the House of Sillage website is the Hufflepuff fragrance. That one I do have a backup of, and I'm contemplating another one. And I'm kicking myself. I really want to get another one of the Mickey Mouse, or the Minnie Mouse, the Minnie Mouse version. I like the Mickey one as well, but the Minnie Mouse one, ooh, it is so good. These are like some fragrances that I wish they would just add to their permanent range because they're so nice. We've been lucky enough to get this fragrance released in a new bottle every year since, but I hope that they do something similar with those other ones as well because they're so nice. But again, this guy here is on sale right now on the website too, 30% off. And this is their latest Wonder Woman bottle with just a divine scent to it. So huge thank you to the House of Sillage for sending this guy over right here. And then lastly, Pixi sent me over a package, and there's a little sleeping mask in here, and I think it's kind of based around lavender. It's a little satin eye mask right there, and this has got the Dreamy Mist Jasmine and Lavender Overnight Mist. So a little extra hydration boost with some lavender in it. I'll have to give this a try. It's not that often. Typically when I do something like spray my face over my skincare before I go to bed, it's in the winter time because I need a little extra something after like 15 layers of like lotion. So I might wait to try it till then. But lavender is supposed to help you sleep better, and my sleep situation is just not good, okay? We'll just put it that way. So that guy's in there, and then they also have got these Dreamy Eye Replenishing PM patches, which I can also use because I've got dry skin around my eyes. Both my eyelids and underneath my eyes are quite dry. So I do like to use these, like if I were to take an Epsom salt bath or something like that, I'll put like a eye patch underneath my eyes, and then like the steam will hit it and stuff to like really hydrate underneath my eyes. That's kind of how I like to use products like that. But super huge thank you to Pixi for sending over this guy as well. And that's everything that I have for my haul today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to wear sunscreen, and I will see you guys later. Bye.